Here's a special offer from our sponsor. Join the Center for Gerontology on Tuesday, May 13th from 9 a.m. to noon for an interactive breakfast workshop at Concordia University, Chicago, led by Reverend Beth Long Higgins, a facilitator with the National Center to Reframe Aging. This interactive workshop will explore how people in faith communities can identify ageism and develop age-positive programming that reaches across generations. Have questions? Email Beth Truitt, Truett, Women Over 70 member and workshop project leader at bethtruitt@gmail.com, and see the show notes attached to this episode for registration information. Hi, I'm Gail.
Hi, I'm Catherine. Welcome to Women Over 70, Aging Reimagined, our award-winning weekly podcast. Visit womenover70.com to learn how you may become involved and join Aging Reimagined Circle and enjoy free participation in our monthly programs.
And today, thanks to Andy Lyons, host of Don't Be Caged by Your Age podcast, we are introducing you to Ginny Maccoll. Ginny has an unusual hobby. She competes in ninja warrior competitions. And in 2024, the Guinness World Book of Records named her the oldest female to compete. Ginny started dancing in third grade and moved from Tennessee to New York City to embark on a professional career in dance, culminating in the hit Broadway show Pippin in 1974. This led her to TV commercials, having her own radio show, and appearing in a film with Diane Keaton. So, Ginny, welcome to Women Over 70 Aging Reimagined.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
After we talked, I watched your video of mastering one pull-up to 17, and I did that with awe. I really thought that if you could do that, there's hope for me. It sounds as though you were very active from the time you were born, and that your love of dancing led somehow to competing in ninja competitions and on the Senior Olympics team. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Well, sure. First of all, I think that if people can see me at age 73 doing some of the things that I'm doing, then I think there is hope for everybody as well. And that's my goal, is to get people to move and see that they can do a lot more than they think that they can. So dance is a discipline of movement. And I think that is what has always stayed with me, to continue to move in some sort or another all my life. And that's what I'd like people to start thinking and doing. And it's never too late to get started, seeing as how I started doing weightlifting when I was 62. But I think the thing is that the discipline of movement would be the same as ninja, because I'm very goal-oriented, and because both of these, dance and ninja, are very challenging, and I love a good challenge. I think that you have to have an attainable goal, though. And so with each of these, I would just reach a little bit farther than I thought was possible. And in ninja, I feel that I've sort of made the impossible seem possible.
How did you even decide to go and do a ninja competition, to get involved with that whole program?
Oh, that's that's interesting. My daughter, her name is Jessie Graff, did American Ninja Warrior for 12 seasons. And she looked so graceful and strong and healthy. And I would be there cheering her on. And I looked at her and I went, she has muscles and they look wonderful. And my generation of women grew up with not really being encouraged to lift weights. It was like, you don't want to get too bulky. It's not feminine. It was just, the fragility of women was constantly reiterated in our lives. So I saw her and I went, well, all this information that I have somehow gotten is wrong. She looks wonderful. And I said, Jessie, what can I do to get stronger? And she said several different things, but what stuck with me is to do pull-ups. Now, pull-ups are probably about the hardest thing you could do because you lift your whole body up with your strength. So I worked on it and worked on it, and I was getting nowhere. So I went to a personal trainer, and I told him my goal, which I thought was attainable, was 5 pull-ups. And so you don't just sit there and work on pull-ups. You have to do your upper body, your chest, your back, your arms, legs, the whole body. And it took me an entire year to get 1 pull-up. It was just so challenging that I went, wait a minute, people out there, and I see women doing this. If they can do it, I can do it. So I just kept at it. And and then grew from 1 to the 5 pull-ups, and over the years got up to 17 pull-ups. So it's such a sense of accomplishment of achieving that.
No. And then go ahead, Catherine.
I was going to say a 17-year peak. Is that your ultimate goal?
Oh, no. 20 is I make it in just little bits. First, it was a 5 goal, and then it was like, okay, now let's make it an 8 goal or a 10. And so each time it's just a little bit at a time. So if I can get 17, I'd like to get 20. But along the way, you have injury, you're just like sore, it's not working for you. So you kind of take a back step. So what was once 17 pull-ups is now like back to 12. So you have to work your way back up again. It's not something that I do every day, obviously. So it's constant, as in life, is you're constantly trying to get ahead of the game of where your body is taking turns, like, pains and joints and arthritis, and things will slow you down, but you have to keep fighting against it. We can't let it go down. We want to stay independent as long as possible. You want to be able to carry your groceries and put your plates away in the cabinet, or the luggage in the upper, in the whatever you call it above you. You want to keep working on your brain so that you don't lose those words that I just did. You want to keep moving so your moving parts don't rust.
It works that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it's a fight against time. And we're going to win.
So how did you, then decide, well, I'm ready. I can get into a ninja competition?
Well, I did not do it that way at all. The American Ninja Warrior did a segment on Jesse and I working out together, a mother-daughter segment, and it was beautifully produced. I love it. I look at it every once in a while, and I just go, that was just such a nice segment. And along the way, they kind of said, you should try out. You should do it. And I'm like, oh, what? I at that point, I could only do maybe 1 pull-up, but barely. It was only if I kind of jumped myself up, and it was getting up to that second one that was so impossible. And so I went, well, you know what? I'll send in a video, which is how you get on the show, is that you do a 3-minute or less video showing your skills and your personality. So I did that, and they gave me the call. So I was like, whoa, now what do I do? And Jesse says, you better get to a competition someplace so you get an idea of what it's like and just get yourself used to the nerves. So I did that. I found a regional competition in Atlanta, and I went to it, and I'm like really feeling out of place. And what am I doing? And I was able to get through 6 obstacles. So I was like, okay, this is good. So at least I've got that sense. But the nerves were just trying. And I felt, there weren't any other gray-haired ladies that were doing the ninja competition. So I had to get past that and just focus on what I needed to do. And so from there, I had to go to my first competition, maybe 2 months later. And I got up to the starting point, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And these steps are in front of me and they're inclined and they're so far apart and you're over water and the lights are there. It's the middle of the night. And I got to the first step, I got to the second step and slipped off. And I was devastated. I thought I had let down seniors all over the world, that I had let down my family and let down Jesse. And I was just, it was like, I don't know how that could have happened. Was my foot wet and slipped? Was a step wet? Did I just like lose all focus? And the athletes on the show make that first obstacle, they make it look so easy, and it was not at all. It was just much further than I thought it would be. But it just, like I said, devastation was how I kept going over it and over it in my brain. And, like if you've ever been in a car accident, you hear the sound of the car crunching underneath you. You never get that sound out of your head. And the bubbles underwater of me going, this couldn't have happened. But, it took a lot of people. I mean, Jesse was right there saying, hey, look how far you've come. Look how strong you've gotten. You cannot let one fall define you. And my husband said, well, you're going to do it again. And I'm like, what? Why would I do this again? And he went, because you can. And, I gave it a lot of thought. It was also difficult when the show came out and they showed the episodes. They did not show me in that one. So I was grateful for that. But it just made me want to get up and do it again and prove to myself and prove to others that you can learn these different obstacles. You can get above and beyond hitting an obstacle. You can get better and you can get stronger and you keep going. And I didn't want to look at myself in, when I'm 80 and go, why didn't I do it again? What's the worst that can happen? You fall. People fall all the time. Just get up and keep going.
For you. Wow. How much longer, how many years went by before you did it again?
I did it again the next season, and I got almost to the end of the obstacle, but I fell again. But this time, I didn't get so angry at myself. I went, there's something that's, my legs are weak on one side. One side, my left leg would not take off as well as my right leg did. So I learned and I started testing obstacles for American Ninja Warrior for the next couple of years. And that meant before they have the athletes come out, they have testers that get on the obstacle, and they may be too hard and everybody's falling on it, so they adjust it, or it may be too easy and they make it harder. So I tested and I got through that first obstacle and I got to try several others, and I got to be in a great environment where everybody was so, supportive of me and others. And so then COVID hit. And so it was like 5 years before I did it again. And I did season 15 and I got through that first obstacle, which was now a different obstacle, totally different. And you never get a chance to get on these obstacles before you're on the show. You get to see a one run through where a tester will go through the obstacle and show you how it's supposed to be done and the rules that are around it. So this first obstacle was, again, a terrifying one, but I got through it and I got the fame as being the oldest person, not just female, but oldest person to complete an obstacle. So, I'm improving. So my next goal would be to get through the second obstacle, and just keep going like that. And that's sort of what life is like, isn't it? You get one obstacle after another that you just keep hurtling over, and you can't let it stop you, because you can keep getting better
Right.
as long as you keep trying to get better.
Can you tell us about Senior Olympics?
Yeah, the Senior Olympics, I've always loved swimming. So when I retired, that was what I did before I did ninja, was I went to a community college where they have this great coach that coaches like 15 of us. And it's an hour, 3 times a week or 2 times a week, depending. And I learned to do the flip turn. I learned the butterfly. I learned how to do the breaststroke correctly. And it was just a joy for me to be learning all those things that I had not done before, that diving off of a block. So you go to a qualifier, which is the same as in ninja. There's a qualifier, then you go to states, then you go to nationals. So when I went to nationals for the first time, I think it was in 2019 in Albuquerque, I was so impressed by 80 and 90-year-olds that were diving off the block, that were doing flip turns, that were breaking world records. And some of them had, problems like we all do. And we're doing it. And I just loved watching them. And there was a woman there called Julia Hurricane Hawkins, and she was a runner. Now, at the Senior Olympics or Senior Games, they have all sorts of sports, from walking, running, basketball, pickleball, you name it. They have many, many different things you can enter. I did the swimming. But Julia Hurricane Hawkins started when she was 100 years old walking. And she continued, I think, until she was 105. And I just went, this is wonderful to see. Why doesn't the world show all these people as seniors accomplishing these wonderful feats of what is possible, what you can do? And it really impressed me and continues to.
That's what you were doing when you and your daughter did something on Instagram recently, right?
Swimming? No, we didn't do swimming.
I mean, but you were showing the strength that you have, and you do that. You're a role model out on social media.
I tried to, yeah. And that was actually started after those fails in American Ninja Warrior. Is that that was like helpful to me, because I would start to show different things and competitions that I did, and it just grew from there. And I went, this is a healthy, great way to show people that you can do a lot more than you think you can do. And there's a lot of thinking that you can only maybe maintain your strength. You can't get stronger, but that's not true, because I'm living proof that I started lifting weights for the first time. I'd never done sports. I started lifting weights at age 63. I retired at 62, and then I started this personal training campaign at 63. And you can get stronger. And it's important to get stronger for all the health benefits that it offers you, from grip strength to, hanging from a bar and decompressing your spine. And it's good for your mental acuity as well, because you're working on your body and your mental state. And it's good in so many different ways. But what I found was most impressive for me was in my late 40s. I think I was diagnosed with osteopenia. And I'm like, well, what is that? What? I had never heard of that word. And of course, it is the step before osteoporosis. So it meant my bones were getting weaker. And I'm like, well, what can I do about it? And she said, well, take calcium. And I have since actually, at my competitions, which are with much younger people, have asked 30 and 40-year-olds, have you ever heard of the term osteopenia? And most of the time, it's no. Even today, people have not heard that term. But after lifting weights, for me, after 2 years, and that's how often you get tested for bone density, I went in and I was like, wonder if this is true that lifting weights will help get you stronger. And it was a significant change of strength. It went from osteopenia back to normal. Now, it is a continual fight, like I told you, because the aging process needs you to fight against it. So I am constantly trying to keep that back to normal. And I just want people to know all over the place that you have to be your own advocate. You can make these things change. Not everybody. I mean, we all have different problems for different reasons and genetics that come in. But the majority of us could probably do that if you continue to lift weights and have a healthy diet and, walk. Even walking is good for bone density. So it's good for your heart. All these things that continue to tumble down, like your muscle loss or bone loss or balance goes down from age 40. The text neck that people are getting now and the rolled shoulders and prolonged sitting, all these things can go against you and your heart and your muscles. The heart is a muscle, by the way. But with exercising, there's no aging. There's a brain boost. There's increase in bone mass and balance and metabolic rate and blood pressure. All these things are enhanced if you continue to exercise.
What a wonderful lesson.
Wow. Yes, it is. Gail name dropped Diane Keaton when she introduced you, so I can't let that pass. Tell us, did you think you were going to become a movie star at any point?
No, not at all. Well, my background is I went to New York to dance, and from dancing, I went into TV commercials and acting and that kind of thing. But after a divorce and I had to move out of the city, I stayed away from everything. But my goal was always to get back to acting. And that's one of the reasons I moved to the Wilmington, North Carolina area. Is a lot of film work has been done here. And so I immediately, that's the very first thing I did upon retirement. I want to be ready to get into this. And I got my pictures and resumes before I came down. And I started with a great agent, and it takes a while. I mean, I thought with my New York credits, I'd be like booming right out there, but film work is quite different from Broadway. And it was having to meet casting directors and them knowing that you're reliable and will continue to show up when you're supposed to show up. It takes a while. But one of the reasons the Diane Keaton movie came to be was she, in this movie called Palms, was in a retirement center and or community, I should say, and she wanted to start a cheerleading squad, and all of us were over 67 years old. And I got to be the fitness one who did yoga, and it required having to do a split. So I had to work on that quite a bit because it had been a long time since I'd done any kind of a split. And so I got this role, and it was just wonderful. Diane Keaton was terrific to work with. There were so many people on it. Jackie Weaver, Rhea Perlman, lots of people that are just wonderful. And so we worked together for 6 weeks, and it was so much fun. And then a couple of movies have come since then, too. But they're few and far between. I like to say that I basically audition all the time, and every once in a while I work.
Well, clearly your brain is very active.
Yeah, I got to keep it that way.
For a testimonial for all of this work that you've been doing to keep your body and your brain going. And so your daughter is a role model for you?
She is indeed. It's sort of like she was a mini me growing up. She took all my dance classes, and now I'm like a mini her. She's teaching me all these things. And she has taught many women and girls, little girls, that it's cool to be strong. She was kind of the first person, I think, that made that mainstream, if you will.
Yeah, that's really terrific. So, do you ever worry about your own aging?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Surely, I mean, with my arthritis, I've got pains here and there. In fact, at swimming in the locker rooms, we always talk about all these things on my shoulder, joints here and there, all these brown spots that suddenly appear, wrinkles. Sadly, it's very hard to age in the acting field, and you see yourself, and I guess the good side of that is that now I get to play characters. I get to be witches and mean old ladies, and I didn't get to do that when I was in my 20s and 30s. But to see, there's nothing wrong with people getting all the different changes to their face and getting rid of wrinkles and stuff. But I wish there was a lot of emphasis on just being natural. And nothing wrong, again. It's always good if you could do just a little bit, maybe, and so that you don't have such ingrained wrinkles. But, you see it and you go, oh, should I do something? Should I not? Should I, let the character just build, and you can see that I'm not 40, I'm 73, and just enjoy the process of who you are, what it is to be natural. Like go gray. That was a very tough decision. And my agent said, be your age. So that was liberating, not to have to color your hair and all the things that you have to do. I'll put that money that I don't color my hair into taking the strength training. But yes, it's difficult. But if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So instead of looking at it as not so good and, oh, I wish I could be better, it's like, look at the wealth of knowledge and things that I've done and the whole process of what it took to get to be 73. So, it's mixed emotions. I have the same as most everybody. It's hard to see, the pains coming in, but I'm working against it.
And what are your goals? You goal-oriented person. What are your goals for the next 5 years?
Well, I wouldn't mind going on American Ninja Warrior again. If I feel that I'm stronger. I've taken some time off from it just to let the body heal. I want to continue to motivate and inspire people to lift weights, to get their cardio, to walk, or whatever capacity they have in them, to keep moving forward and build more challenges, because it'll keep you young longer, and independent, so that you can do all these things like going up and down stairs and getting out of a chair. And so I would really like to change the image of getting older and to redefine aging. And I can do that now through social media as that continues, and hopefully, do something more that is in front of more people. I'd like to do some rock climbing. I'd like to get another Guinness World Record. I just have to figure out what it's going to be in. So, yeah, there are a lot of things to look forward to.
Well, good for you. You are indeed a role model, and
So thank you.
keep it up. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I will try to, as long as I possibly can. That's for sure.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks.
You're inspiring me, that's for sure.
Good. Are you going to go out and lift weights?
Well, I do lift weights,
Excellent. Yeah.
but I need to walk more. Walk.
Yeah, there's a statistic that walking for just 2.5 hours a week, it's like 21 minutes a day will cut your heart disease by 30%. So the goal is to go for 5 days, 30 minutes a day. And you can do a lot of great things just with walking, and you can speed it up so you get your heart rate up, so that maybe you go 60 seconds walking and then 30 seconds fast walking. And then you develop that more. You can do it with light weights. And so you can even keep having challenges when it comes to walking. I like to tell everybody to get a buddy who supports you and you're accountable to, so that, each day that you go out and have a good conversation and have fun and enjoy it.
You really define being an advocate for aging, women aging. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Good. I hope so.
Yes. And listeners, we'd like to see more of you at our monthly online programs and make your voice heard as together we change the conversation about women aging. Visit Aging Reimagined Circle at womenover70.com. And another podcast, very fitting, is that you might enjoy is Fit Strong Women Over 50. Jill McClaughlin and Chris Brown interview experts and share motivational stories about getting fit, healthy eating, strength training, running, and staying motivated. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.